Is someone clear on the motions to strike section C on the end of the bill?
I just have some comments on it.
Yeah, please, Representative Brown, on the amendment.
On the amendment.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Yeah, I'm in support of Representative Cervantes' idea here. It seems, it's strange to say in subpart B that the farmer is not liable, and then we say in C, but any cost shall be brought. And I think part of the problem is we're looking at maybe a state issue versus a federal patent issue, but I don't think it helps the bill to have subpart C in there. It says consistent with the federal law, and again, the lawyers will know where to find that if it becomes a patent infringement issue. So I agree with the comments earlier.
Thank you very much. Representative Green on the proposed amendment.
That's fine. Well, the other thing I was wondering is if on page 3 up at line 1, is if we were to say in federal district court or New Mexico district court, you think that just muddies it up, or then they have a choice for it, or what?
Mr. Chairman, there's a question, right? Well, you always have that, presumably. I mean, yeah, but that gets into that takes 20 years of lawyer to still not know the answer to that. I'll just tell you that. Once you start getting into jurisdictional issues, a lot of lawyers make a career out of fighting jurisdiction and what's not jurisdiction. So I just think you're right. We don't want to be muddying this up. And I think Representative Bandy's told me his goal here is to try and avoid the farmers getting sued.
Correct. And
spending a lot of money on lawyers. And I think if you leave that issue and muddy it, to use your word, Representative, you're just making it that much more fertile for lawyers to litigate.
yes, Representative Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you're going to do that amendment, you need to strike line 13 on page 1.
Yeah, okay. Make it a period instead of a semicolon on line 12. Page 1. Right?
Yes.
Strike it, yeah. Okay. All right, is there objection to the amendment? Please note Representative Ream and Representative Egoff voting and Bandy voting in the negative. All others voting in the affirmative. That amendment is adopted.
I'll vote no to.
And Representative Chasey voting in the negative. Okay, that amendment is adopted. Representative Cervantes.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, also Representative, your bill has a number of definitions which we're accustomed to putting in statute, but usually we define terms for the purpose of, we define them because they're used in the statute itself. But in this particular case, for example, on page 2, line 3, subparagraph 4, you define what is modern biotechnology. But nowhere in the bill do you use the term modern biotechnology, other than defining it. And the same is true with the next definition, which is a technology use agreement. That's on line 13, subparagraph 5. And you define that term, technology use agreement, but you don't use that anywhere in the statute of the bill itself. So those are really unnecessary definitions. They don't add anything. They frankly have no purpose at all in the bill. So I would move that both of those two definitions.
Thank you. They were left over from the previous edition of the bill.
Line 23, page 1.
The original version.
Mr. Chairman, I take the motion. Mr. Chairman, the motion would be on page 2, from line 3 through line 17, that be struck in its entirety, and that at the end of line 2, that there be a period inserted in lieu of the semicolon.
Yep, Representative Alcon.
On that, if you look at page 1, line 22, you'll find the word modern biotechnology.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I guess that's right, Representative Alcon, but you're using a definition to define a definition that doesn't have anything to do with the limitation of liability, so you really should. Yeah, you're right, Representative.
I see what you're saying. You say that there's no need to define it.
Yeah, the guts of your bill, Mr. Chairman, Representative, I think, is all in subparagraph B on page 2. That's the whole thing.
That is correct, and all these definitions were related to a previous edition of the bill that did have these in the bill. And when we did the committee substitute, yeah, those definitions are not necessary anymore.
Yeah, so, Mr. Chairman, I guess my motion still stands, and I think Representative Bandy's saying that probably makes sense to him, which is at the end of, on page 2, at the end of line 2, to insert a period in lieu of the semicolon, and then strike all of lines 3 through 22. And really, we're really striking the
No,
remainder.
no.
I'm sorry, through line 17.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, you just get rid of the whole thing.
No, no.